in.
So,
So we can start, Mr. Chair.
okay. At which time we'll call the meeting to order at 9:01. And the first item on the agenda is a roll call, Sam.
Okay, all right. Chester, Cindy Lignor.
Morning.
Good morning. Clinton, Michelle Bienvenia.
Yes, here.
Pommel, Anthony Salvatore.
Here.
Deep River, Carol Doak Jones. I do not see her, but I do see Catherine Russell. Welcome. Durham, Brendan Ray. Oh, there's Brendan. Welcome, Brendan. East Haddam, Irene Haynes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. East Hampton, David Cox.
I'm here.
Oh, good morning. Essex, Norm Needleman or Carrie Duquesne. Is Carrie here? I don't see either one of them. All right. Haddam, Robert McGarry. I don't see him. All right. Killingworth, Eric Couture.
Hello.
Good morning. Lyme, David Lom.
Here.
Middlefield, do we have Bobby Martino or Jim Irish? I don't see Middlefield here. All right. Old Lyme, Martha Shoemaker. Don't see Martha. Old Saybrook, Carl Fortuna. He is here. He's in the hall. And then Portland, Michael Pelton.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning. And then Westbrook, John Hall.
Good morning.
And then for the MPO, we have Joe Comerford, Estuary Transit District. I don't know if he's on yet, but he is expected. We also have Lori McElwee, our Regional Mobility Manager. Welcome.
Morning.
From those, also from the MPO, Middlesex Chamber, Darlene Briggs.
Good morning.
From Connecticut DOT, we have Michael Salter, and we can promote you to a panelist if you would like to speak. And then from Federal Highway Administration, we have Jennifer Brady.
Good morning. Here.
Good morning. So I'm going to start with other introductions. We have our guest, the State Controller, Sean Scanlon. Welcome. Thank you for coming this morning. We also have, let's see, also from his office, we have Brendan Young. And I'm not sure if we have anyone else from the Controller's office logged in. But
I'm here as well,
welcome.
Josh Barnes.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Thank you for introducing yourself. From Senator Murphy's office, we have Aaron McBride. From Representative Courtney's office, we have Julia McGrath. Do we have Blumenthal's office? I don't think so. Let's see, any other guests to be introduced before I move on to staff? Oh, Carol, welcome, Carol.
Thank you.
From Deep River. And I'll just, on Martha Shoemaker, we're going to promote you to panelist. We also have Allison Dvorak of Senior Resources. And then here at RiverCOG, we have myself, Sam Gold, Kevin Armstrong, Elizabeth Rollison, Margot Burns, Janice Odemeyer, and Brendan Garrity. And on the Zoom, we have Megan Juflis, Susie Beckman, and Marcos Gonzalez, and Rob Harriman. Did I miss anyone in introductions? And if I did, please say hello and introduce yourself if you'd like. All right, with that, we can turn it over to public speaking, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Sam. And it's my distinct honor and privilege to introduce Connecticut's Comptroller, Sean Scanlon. I've had the pleasure of listening to Mr. Scanlon speak a number of occasions, and he very informative about what his office can do for us. Mr. Scanlon.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, Morton, and good morning to everybody. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time this morning. I'll cut right to the chase and just say that for better or worse, I am really attracted to trying to solve intractable problems. It's what I did before I was comptroller in both the legislature, and as some of you know, I was the CEO of Tweed Airport in New Haven and did a big deal there to turn around the airport. During my term as comptroller, I've reformed our municipal pension system a number of times and working on a couple projects right now for the governor that are about to wrap up. And so, much to the chagrin of some of the team members in my office, I'm spending this summer thinking about property tax reform. And I know that this is something that about every 10 years, it seems like, there's a giant effort to reform our property tax system. And I'm going to give it a go to make this 10-year version of it actually successful. But before we roll out a big report later on in the fall that I hope will lead to some change in the future, I wanted to start just by listening. And so I've asked the COGs around the state to just give me a few minutes of time where folks can kind of give me some feedback or some thoughts or don't do it or yes, please do it and everything in between. But I also know that this is not just a 30-minute meeting kind of thing, and not everyone is willing to share their thoughts in a Zoom setting with 40 other people. So what I'll do is I'll put my personal number and my personal email in the chat, and if there's something that you wanted to say and didn't have the chance to say it, or you want to say privately to me, I welcome the opportunity to talk to you all one-on-one. But at the end of the day, I get a lot of feedback on this from legislators and from think tanks and academics and all those kind of folks. But you're literally on the front lines of this every day and living it as municipal leaders. And no reform I think we can ever do to the system can happen without the buy-in and the deep, deep collaboration with our municipal governments. So that's really what I'm here to do and here to talk about. And I don't know how, Mr. Chair, you want to oversee this conversation, but again, welcome any feedback, pro or con, any advice you may have as we really get going in this in earnest, and look forward to just continuing this conversation both today and beyond with all of you as I work on this project.
Your pleasure, sure. I certainly can take Q&A if you'd like, or however you'd like to proceed.
Yeah, if you're just willing to open it up and folks have thoughts, questions, comments, anything, I would love to hear from people.
Does anyone have any questions for the comptroller?
I have one quick question.
Mike?
So at this point, what's your biggest reason for trying to tackle this? What's the biggest issue that you see that needs solving, in your opinion?
Well, in my personal opinion, this is one of the top three most important issues that holds our state back, and has been a problem that I have heard about almost every day that I have been in public life in the last 10 years, both in the legislature and as a comptroller. And as the CFO of the state, it's my job to constantly evaluate what is happening both with our budget and with our economy. And in both of those regards, the property tax plays a big impact, right? There was a massive fight last year between the legislature and the governor and CCM over municipal aid. It's not the first time that happened. It happens every single year that I've been involved in politics. And on the economic side, the property tax is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, tax burden that anybody in our state faces on an annual basis. And the system itself, I think, in my personal opinion, is designed to not work. It puts too much pressure on municipal governments. It puts too much pressure on municipal taxpayers, and then puts pressure on the state because you can't possibly keep going back to the taxpayers in your communities for the increases that you need to make your governments work without coming to the state for more assistance. And the state is telling you, well, we don't necessarily have more to give you for that assistance, and therefore we find ourselves in the situation that we're in. So what I'm interested in doing is looking at other solutions that can help with this. As I joked earlier, every 10 years or so, there's a big effort to do this. And it's funny and not funny that if you actually look at what's been proposed in those 10-year increments, It's the same ideas over and over again. It's municipal revenue diversification, it's shared services and incentivization of regionalization, and it's changing the way we fund the property tax or fund municipal aid at the state level. So we've been down this road before. What I'm interested in doing is actually solving the problem. And I don't think it's an overnight thing, and it's not a one bill thing, and it's not going to happen because of one Zoom call or one meeting with you guys. But what I'm interested in doing in my job that I have now is to use the platform I have as a statewide elected official to shake things up and to put some really bold ideas out there that I hope people will consider and then tour the state trying to promote them until they happen. But I don't want to do that until I get the buy-in and the feedback from people like you all. And I know that we'll never get to complete unanimity on this issue because this is a really tough one and nobody's cracked this code for 200 plus years because it's really hard to do. But I want to try because I think it's a really big issue for our state and something that if we don't fix, we're never going to truly be able to grow the state in the way that I think we need to and I want to take Connecticut to the next level. So long answer, Mike, but that's the context.
Thank you.
Dave, did you have a question?
So, Mr. Comptroller, you have in the past suggested, limits on our levies, so to speak, caps on our mill rates, things of that sort. And I get that, but as I started to think about this whole process, and I think you alluded to it, it's not necessarily a property tax issue. It's a whole municipal revenue stream issue, right?
Yeah.
Every bit of money we spend comes out of our taxpayer pockets, whether it's at the state, at the federal level, at the local level, everywhere. It's how much money's in the system. And certainly in this community, I've talked to the residents and to the powers that be about the fact that if we're going to truly cut the cost, we have to stop doing things. And that's not not something that people really like to hear, but I think it's a combination of things, right? We can't do everything, so we have to set our priorities. I get that. But whatever happens, it can't start with hamstringing the municipalities by setting artificial limits and setting limits from beyond that just restrict our revenues without real consideration of what that means. So I'm all for the concept. As you alluded to, it is super hard. And if there's input that I can give individually, I'm happy to do it. But it is I've worked in a few states and they've all tried to tackle this. And I don't know that anybody's come up with the magic bullet yet. So God bless you if you can. Well, but just hamstring us first.
We definitely needs God blessing for this project. But I agree with you, Dave, 100%. And I do not favor a property tax cap unless we have done other reforms to change the way that we finance municipalities. I think that that's just tying your hands behind your back and kicking the can. It's something that politicians like me would campaign on and say we've solved the problem, but it's really just putting the problem on our local leaders. So I have actually opposed the institution of a property tax cap without other reforms, though I do think a cap is an interesting concept to consider as part of this Socratic exercise if we can pair it with other things. But that's a really good point, Dave, and I agree and appreciate it.
I've been in states that have had caps before, Illinois and Wisconsin in particular, and it just forces us to do things differently because the revenue stream didn't change and the whole system didn't change. So in Wisconsin, it forced us to borrow more. I don't know that that's a good idea, but that's what it forced us to do. In Illinois, we had a much more diverse revenue stream for the municipalities, and it was less impactful, but it was a challenge. So blue ribbon committees all over the country have tried to tackle this. So let's go.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else?
I did have two things. So having defended the legislature's actions and had to deal with the legislature's actions, in my career. One of the things that I think we need to, if we're going to try and tackle the property tax problem, is get the legislature to realize that they can't balance the state budget on the municipalities' backs in a way, or, push tax cuts and other things. Like, I'll use the veterans exemption as an example that's been talked about this year, where this legislature created the exemption out of the municipalities' bank accounts. And I think one of the big problems, and it's really when, as both you, Dave, and Mike have pointed out, it's a structural problem where fundamentally attacking how property tax works needs fundamentally changing a lot of other aspects of state government, simply because it's all tied together. If the legislature is going to continue down the path of making these tax cuts or unfunded mandates, which I hate the term, but it's the right term, is then the problem won't get solved, no matter what reforms you do to the whole diversification of revenue, municipal property tax income. If the legislature just heaps stuff on to the towns and cities, then nothing will change. You're just shifting the burden around. So I'd be happy to be part of the conversation, but I think the property tax is just one aspect of how we handle government. It's a big part of it, but at the end of the day, this is going to turn into what does our whole state look like in some ways. So that's kind of the direction I see it going.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, I completely agree. And again, I'm excited about that prospect. I mean, I just think it's long overdue. And as a recovering legislator, I can say I understand what you're talking about, because I've been there and I now see it from a different perspective. And I think that actually is going to help me in this process because I've been on both sides of it, right? But I completely agree with your comments. So thank you.
Just want to say, for the staffers, it's always difficult to defend decisions made by the legislature. So,
Mr. Comptroller, unfortunately, I've been around long enough to realize that every time somebody gets elected, they got to have a bill passed for themselves. And in the last couple of years, I have to admit, the veterans bill was poorly written and it's poorly exercised. Nothing against veterans. I'm a veteran and certainly support any veteran that would qualify, but it can't be on the backs of the municipalities as they continue to do. And at least they adjusted it up to 100% from what I understand now. But also in light of that, then they passed the sick bill, in which basically it's 40 hours of free vacation for our employees without being able to question them until the 40 hours is up. And especially we're in light of most municipalities have collective bargaining agreements. Some of this stuff just doesn't make sense, and it's all at the expense of our taxpayers. And these are the sort of things that have to be addressed, that as soon as you hit the floor running as a legislator, you don't have to pass a piece of legislation just to get your name on a bill. I agree with everything that was said here this morning, that the state is quick to come up with what they feel are solutions, but they want to balance it on the backs of the municipalities, whether it be regionalization and they try to jam that down our throats, or combine PSAPs, which don't even affect the coffers of the state, as the money comes from a additional charge on your phone bill. And God only knows what they would do with that money once they got it. So they have to get serious when they want to start looking and really sit down and look at helping the municipalities rather than keep passing laws and then passing it on to the municipalities. The not that I'm opposed again, but the firefighters cancer relief fund is another way. I'm doing battle. I have a fire district, and the conditions are pretty straightforward. There's a number of bullets. They don't want to provide me with affidavits that their firefighters meet those conditions. Yet it's a fire district for the entire town, and the municipality is responsible for paying into that fund. So I guess common sense would be nice.
Appreciate all that. I see Carl has a hand up here.
Yes, so thanks for being here. And the fact that you even mention property tax reform is remarkable because it's kind of, as you say, it's an issue that people talk about, but there just doesn't seem to be any realistic answer, no matter any way you slice it. And I think you're 100% correct that some of the rehashed ideas like, oh, I'm going to share a fire marshal with Essex. That's not going to solve my property tax issue. It helps on the margins, obviously. So you're right about that also. And the fact that you're willing to even consider it in an increasingly polarized environment, which whether that's coming down from the national level, not assigning blame anywhere, it certainly seems to be infecting the state level. So, it would seem to me that any real solution will be some sort of grand bargain, and that I think is going to be much harder to achieve as the years go by. But and another comment that people have been talking about a little bit, we have revenue. And could we increase revenue? Probably. I don't know that we can increase it significantly, not at the local level, at the state level, either through the income tax or whatever. But I mentioned it offhand, I think in a meeting, and I know it's a crazy idea that will never happen, but some sort of municipal veto of legislative actions. Like 75% of 80%, whatever, supermajority. I know that's the nuttiest thing ever. But when they're passing laws like the veterans exemption and multiple other mandates over the years, if 140 towns don't want it, why should we have to swallow it? And I know, and by the way, I've given no thought to that. So that may have been thought about in many other states and rejected. So throwing it out there.
Polish Lithuanian.
I like it. I think that's a great one.
CCM, Sean, Mr. Comptroller, CCM, of
You
course.
can all call me Sean, by the
Yeah,
way.
I know. I was taught a long time ago, people earn their titles and you call them by their titles. So CCM came out with the report. As you know, this report is different about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And in that report was kind of a grand bargain where there was state pension reform in a very different way. I don't know if there's some ideas in there. I'm sure you're very familiar with that report. It might be worth dusting off. There might be an idea or two in there as we move forward. And I'll tell you what I think in terms of reform. And this is maybe more of a partisan issue than anything else, collective bargaining reform. I mean, we sit here and the fact of the matter is the tail wags the dog in this state. And I sat for 3 hours yesterday on a $400 issue with my lawyer, and it's just out to me. I think we are deeply flawed with our collective bargaining laws. I feel like management has zero power at this point. And I think if you looked at that, I mean, the governor's looking at it right now, of course, with various unions. And we look at it, I only have 4 unions, but I mean, you can look all across the state. Towns are 2 years behind in their collective bargaining agreements. Then they enter into new contract and they're up for negotiations again. And it is a twisted system where, in my opinion, by the way, it might be just one guy, uh, the town management is on the wrong side. And I think if there's not collective bargaining reform, and by the way, I know it's a third rail to some extent. So it, but so those are my 2 cents. I don't know how much more revenue you're going to pull from people, not at the local level, even at the state level, raising the income tax 1% point. Maybe that's like where you start to get some buy-in from other sides. So anyway, just some random thoughts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Just a couple of responses to that. Number one, I'm not interested at all in just putting out another report because there's a zillion reports that are out there. I'm interested in actually trying to get something done. And maybe I'm insane for thinking that I can, but I've been able to do it on a few issues. And I think MERS is a really good example that some of you may know is for 6 weeks in 2023, I got management and labor roundtable, and we reformed that system for the first time in 40 years. And people, when I started that, told me that I was nuts and would never get anything done. And we got rid of a mandatory minimum guaranteed COLA that's been around for 30 plus years, where people were getting a 2.5% COLA, even with zero inflation out there. And that doesn't exist anymore as of 22 days ago. So I do think that there is still, despite what happens nationally, the ability for people to get around a table and figure stuff out. I just don't know that people have tried to really do this earnestly in the last 10 years or so, and I want to give it a go. Can I ask you a question? And this is a broader group question. When we talk about revenue, um, and diversification of revenue, that really leads down a path in my mind so far in this journey of giving towns more flexibility when it comes to what revenue they can raise beyond just the car tax and the property tax. Um, I had a guy in Woodstock tell me that he was a very, very strong fiscal conservative, big supporter of the president. He said, "You're never going to believe that I'm about to say this to you, but I think we should tax the Woodstock Fair." The town of Woodstock does not get a single dollar of revenue from the biggest event that happens in our town every year. And I think that we should be able to do that. I'm not trying to make eye contact with Mr. Ray down in Durham because I don't know what he thinks about this, but uh, I was surprised to hear that, right? I mean, that was something that I was not expecting. And you have people down in Guilford, where I live, who say we should be taxing Airbnbs, right? Every summer, the roads of Guilford are clogged with people who are here because they rented some guy's house for 2 weeks and they're paying that guy an arm and a leg, and the town gets nothing from that. So I'd just be interested to hear a little bit from folks about what they think about, again, not mandating it, not mandating that a town taxes the fair, or not mandating the town does an Airbnb tax, but giving towns the ability, if their local body decides to do it, to raise additional revenue. Thoughts on that?
Irene?
Yeah. Hi, Sean. How are you? Thanks for being here. Yeah, actually, I have looked into a hospitality tax here in East Haddam. I mean, we have a huge tourism drivers here with the Goodspeed Opera House and the Gillette Castle and all that. It's just a matter of the whole system of how that would work. In regards to, I mean, I've gone places where you can see a hospitality tax on the bill for the restaurant. We don't have a lot of restaurants, so we need more restaurants. So it's hard to find those spots. Again, we got these small rural towns. It is difficult. We have the pilot program, right? I mean, that we need to look at too, because we're not getting a whole lot of money from Goodspeed. I mean, I'll be honest with you folks. For the amount of property that they have 35 properties, and we get about $30,000 to $35,000 a year from Goodspeed. Think about that. That's like 5 to 7 of their buildings we're getting the tax for, and the other 30 we're not. So it's difficult. I know that, they've talked about it in New Haven because Yale owns half of New Haven. So yeah, there is places where I think we can look at to, get revenue. And to your point, Sean, I think if there's ways in which to make it easier for municipalities to figure out what those are and to create those, and everybody is going to have a different place in which they can, look at revenue and look to collect revenue. But there has to be more revenue coming in. At the same time, what Carl said about the fact that the state gets a lot of revenue, but it never trickles down to us. So I don't know if you can hit that up too, but I see it, as you said, on both sides. And, I can yell from the rooftops with a no vote on these things, but you know that it doesn't matter. And I will continue to do so. But in the meantime, as a municipal leader, I've got to find other ways. And a lot of times those other ways are not set up in favor of the town. So if there's something there, certainly, I'd be interested in hearing more about that, or helping that with, working on that with you, whatever. But there's definitely places where I think we can collect revenue. It's a matter of how to get that done and make it easy for the towns to be able to do that.
Well, blowing up the pilot system would probably lead to somebody blowing up my house, but I think that it is time for us to look at that.
Awesome.
The admissions tax, I'll just say quickly, is something that I talk to like the big city mayors about, for example, where the state charges an admissions tax. Mayor Aralumplam in Hartford, he has to pay the cops to be out on the street directing traffic. He has to have ambulances and firefighters there when somebody drinks too much or gets in an accident, whatever, and they get no revenue from the venues that people are flocking into their city from. And so I think that is just one example of a way that you could sort of dip toes into this, right? If you have venues like that. But I do think we need to look beyond just venues and at the tax reform itself for municipalities. So I'm with you, Irene. Thank you.
You got it.
Anyone else? Cindy.
I thank you, and thank you, Sean, for attempting to tackle this very huge issue. Just an overarching kind of a comment. Revenue, right? So creative revenue sources, Sean, I'm sure that's something that you're thinking of, just outside of the box. Boy, I'm sure half this meeting attendees will want to kill me when I mention tolls, but I know that was, my husband and I recently drove up to Prince Edward Island in Nova Scotia, and, going through tolls, and both of us were saying, geez, there's a lot of funds here that go to the state, and I see all the state the road work being done on their state roads and highways. I don't know what the answers, I don't have the answers, but that was an observation of ours. And I know that was a huge fight and don't want to see another huge fight. However, maybe something to consider. And I know I don't know if you can just do it at our borders or how that works, but so just creative revenue. And then also maybe collaborating with other states, working together with other states, aligning with them on projects, on whatever investments. So I don't know if the governors speak to each other in that way, but we certainly are aware that our federal funding is shrinking, and maybe we'll go to zero at some point, and we need to be creative and think outside the box. And that's what I'm hoping for. Intelligent investments and so on. Maybe we want to be self-insured for healthcare. I don't know. But there's a lot of, I'm sure, great ideas that you can explore. And we're all here to speak with you anytime. Please call us. We'd love to work with you. And I agree with what everybody said. Great comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll just tack on at the end. I read your thread yesterday on Reddit. I think that's a good tack to take, and you probably want to get out ahead of anything on like that, because oh boy, are there going to be some opinions on addressing the property tax. I wouldn't go to Reddit for advice, but I think it was a good move.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. And I know we're wrapping up and you guys got to move on to other business. I just would say, again, thanks for these initial comments, but please don't stop there. I'll put my email and number in the chat, and I hope that, you all will send me other ideas or things that you wouldn't want to share here. And this is not going to be an overnight project. And to Eric's point, it's going to be really, really divisive. I'm an eternal optimist. I don't know if I'm as optimistic as Cindy that we could ever get tolls. I think we'll solve world peace before we get the tolls here in Connecticut. But I do believe we can get something structurally done on this issue. And I really believe that that's something that we need to do as a state if we really want to help our state and move our state forward. So just again, grateful for the time as we sort of go through the listening process here, and I hope that we can kind of keep the conversation going. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the COG, and look forward to talking to you all soon.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. It was a pleasure, and as always, you're welcome. Okay, moving on. Public speaking. Senator Blumenthal's office. You have anything for us?
See Senator Blumenthal's by C. Murphy and Courtney.
Okay, Senator Murphy's office.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Not too much to update on my end. The only thing is to keep an eye out. We're going to be having an email sent out soon with the breakdown of the reconciliation bill in the package. I'm just kind of detailing how these things will impact Connecticut and other states. But other than that, just continue to keep us posted and in the loop. Our office is always here if you have any questions. And yeah, it's pretty short today, so I'll pass it along to Julia.
Juliet, you have anything?
Good morning. I don't actually have very much today, similar to Aaron. We are, our team is in the middle of digesting the reconciliation law that just passed. And we are working on putting together products for different stakeholders to be able to, use this kind of cheat sheets. And so we should have that hopefully out to you shortly. However, there are still some areas that are unclear, so I don't want to, spread information that isn't totally right. In the meantime, we are still tracking quite a few interruptions in flows of money and things like that. If you are experiencing that, please reach out to us just so we can have kind of a centralized database of these things going on. There will be some changes to fund availability with this reconciliation package. Again, we'll have more information on that shortly. But other than that, that is pretty much it for me today. Congress, well, the House was supposed to be in session all week. Votes have been canceled, so the congressman is coming home, and we're going to do some stuff in district. But other than that, that's it for me.
Thank you. Any questions for either one of our congressional representatives? Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Moving on. MPO, Rob. Without objection, can we take B1 through 6?
Mr. Chairman, are you intentionally skipping the minutes?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, did I skip the minutes? I'm sorry. I'll go back to the minutes, and is that a motion, Dave?
It is, sir. I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dave.
Absolutely.
Now I'll take 3B1 through 6 without objection.
Yeah, sure. The first 6 line items are for the installation of tow protection along the seawall revetment on Route 154 in Old Saybrook. The existing toe is exposed, basically due to beach erosion and tide cycles. Continued exposure increases the erosion and compromises the integrity of the revetment, which supports Route 154. The first six line items are, let's see, Arthur can just read off the first one and then go through the others like we typically do. It's Old Saybrook, Route 154, project number 1050222, ST8, STP. Anywhere funds, exempt from air quality modeling. Description is rehab seawall revetment. The first is a preliminary design phase in 2025 for $350,000, 80-20 split, new project. The second line item is the final design phase in 2026, 400,000, again, 80-20 split, new project. The third line item is the right-of-way phase in 2026, $100,000, 80-20 split. The fourth line item is an AC entry for 0. The fifth is a construction phase in 2028 for $14 million, AC conversion, 80-20 split again. And number 6 is a construction phase in FYI, which would be 2029, which is beyond the scope of the current tip, for $14 million, again, 80-20 split, and these are all new projects.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions? In which case, we need a motion, correct, Rob, for all
Yes.
6? And I'll take a motion to approve B1 through 6.
So moved.
I have a motion. Second. Who is second?
Good.
Cindy. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And without objection, if we could look at B7 through 8, Rob?
Yep, 7 and 8 are for the replacement of highway illumination systems at various locations. Let's see here in the CROG and RiverCOG regions. This is to replace lighting systems. Areas that are being looked at are I-91 and Route 9 in Cromwell, as well as Route 3 and Route 9 in Middletown. Basically, the existing lighting systems have deteriorated and reached the end of their serviceable life. The 2 line items, first, they show District 2. That's a typo. They should both be in District 1. It's at various locations. Project number 01710524. The STP Anywhere funds, exempt from air quality modeling. The official descriptions, replacement of highway illumination systems. First line item is a preliminary design phase in 2025 for $350,000, 80-20 split. It's a new project. The second line item is a final design phase in 2025 for $400,000, 80-20 split, new project. Currently, the construction is scheduled for state funds, but that could change in the future if use carbon reduction funds. But again, that would only be for existing illumination, not new illumination. So since design hasn't even started, they haven't gotten the phase yet. So we just have the design phases of the project.
Thanks, Rob. Can I get a motion to approve 7 and 8?
So moved.
Motion, second? Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, Rob, the lots of update.
Yep, I can do a brief update of the entire program really quickly. I mean, this could be something that could go on for hours, so I'll try to keep it short and we can ask questions when we're
That
done.
would be nice.
Yep. Let's see. LOTSIP is the Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program. Local meaning towns, not local roads. Roads are still the federal aid road system. Projects that have been complete are Westlake in Middletown, North Main in Old Saybrook, Millbrook in Middletown, Higginham Road in Durham, Coles Road in Cromwell, Main Street in Chester are the projects that are complete. One project that we kind of have on hold is Smith Street in East Hampton. Projects that currently have commitment to fund letters are 3. There is East Main Street in Clinton, which is just about complete. That's a sidewalk job on Route 1. And 2 projects in design are Saybrook Road in Middletown and Candlewood Hill in Haddam. Both of these projects have been slightly delayed. The Middletown project due to just engineering changes, due to changes in the Public Works Director, as well as public involvement. I did talk to the mayor of Middletown earlier in the week. He was hoping to get the engineer to kind of, get going on this and hopefully get things wrapped up relatively soon to get final design into DOT. Candlewood Hill has been held up a little bit as well. This is primarily due to natural diversity database issues, as well as working with the utility companies for utility relocations, which take some time. The next 2 projects in line that we have been working with are, let me see here, Saybrook Road, or Saybrook Junction in Old Saybrook, as well as Main Street in Durham. These are two projects. They're both in design. Hopefully we can get updated cost estimates and scopes soon, get the commitment to fund. Even though they're well into design, it should be quite quick to get the final design in. Ideally, it would be nice to have all 4 of these projects get final design in this fall for construction in spring of 26. There is enough money in the budget right now to get all 4 of these into construction. Our next projects in line are Candlewood Hill Phase 2. This is an extension of the existing Candlewood Hill job in Higginham. This is a farther western phase. The Durham job previously mentioned is the eastern phase, so that's on a corridor linking Durham Center to Higginham Center. So basically the whole segment will be done through both towns. We have Long Hill Road in Clinton, which is teeing up of a skewed intersection a little north of the northeast corridor overpass above the town green. And the final one from the 2019 solicitation is Plains Road Sidewalks in Essex. I've talked to all 3 of these towns. All 3 are in the concept stage, but might begin some degree of design just to get things moving along a little faster. Future projects, we do have one from Halls Road. This is Route 1 corridor improvements, which we can talk about in a few minutes, as well as a couple other towns had expressed interest: Jackson Hill Road and Middlefield and Goose Hill and Chester. Currently, like I said, the 4 projects that we are working on now, there is enough money to do. Basically, budgeting for lot SIP is difficult. We have our initial, when the concepts and the applications come in, we have that estimate. Since this was done in 2019, I basically tacked about a 40% increase on everything just due to cost increases post-COVID, as well as a project moves through from preliminary design to final design. There's about another 20% cost increase. So looking at the cash flow summary that had gone out, with the agenda, you're looking, most of those have about a 60% increase are attached to it. Looking at that increase, basically all the projects currently in line, we should have money through 2027, roughly estimating, because even with that increase, then they go out to bid, so the lowest bid could be a couple $100,000 more or less than whatever the final design number was. So these numbers are always in flux. So that's pretty much where we stand right now. Like I said, it looks like we have a fair amount of money, about 14.5 million, but those top 4 projects use about 12 million of that. So then when we get to 26 and 27, that should basically cover the bottom projects there that we had mentioned, Campbell Woodhill, Long Hill and Plains, leaving Halls Road after that. I would suggest we do make a motion to endorse Halls Road. That's the Route 1 project in Old Lyme, just so when the time comes, it can be officially submitted. I would expect at this point, we probably wouldn't do a solicitation for another year or two, at which point we would see what additional projects come in for the future. When we do that next solicitation, we probably will do some revisions to the process and project selection criteria, as it is somewhat out of date since the last one was in 2019. So we'd have an update, get that endorsed by the board before the solicitation goes out, so you know what you would be required to do and what the ranking criteria would be. So I mean, that's pretty much where we stand right now. If there's any discussion, we can talk about individual projects of the program itself.
So you want to use the loss up money for these 4 projects, and you want a motion?
Nope. What we would need a motion for, those are all approved projects. The only one that hasn't been approved is the Halls Road project. So if we just had a motion to endorse that, it could just get into the system.
So just the Halls Road one?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll move to endorse the Halls Road corridor improvements plan. Project is probably.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that for good discussion.
Okay, discussion.
Rob, tell us again what the basic plan is there.
On Halls Road?
Yeah.
It's sidewalks and streetscapes, and I think on the western side, and it moves east, turns into kind of a dedicated path a little farther away. This project has also been submitted under TA, which is Transportation Alternatives Program. So I mean, there is a potential for it to be funded under that before we get to it under LOTSIP, but at least it'll be in both programs. And I don't know if Martha has anything specific she wanted to add to the overall scope of the project, but
so go ahead.
Question?
Sorry, I was going to jump in and give a little bit more information.
Go ahead.
So basically, when I came into office in 23, this project had been given to or provided to RiverCOG in 2022. And I thought it had been prioritized, but just recently found out it had not. Anyway, we are basically trying to incorporate some connectivity along that Halls Road corridor, which is, as you know, a connect through from exit 70 to exit 71 of 95. And we tried some rezoning issues. We failed miserably at that, but we are still working on providing safety and connectivity for our residents, because there are no sidewalks at all. Currently, the Old Line Marketplace is under a possible contract to be sold, and I know that there's changes in there to be made, but we're trying desperately to at least get the sidewalks on the north side going, and that's why we've applied for some other grants, but as of yet, and nothing has come through. And Rob, I believe that we did not get the TA grant, that I believe Edie had gotten word that we were not approved, but I will double check on that.
oh yes, it was not at this point, but that happens a lot. We do have 2 examples right now in both Clinton and Westbrook of sidewalk projects that were submitted under TA, initially not approved, but then as the other projects ahead of them go through the design process, similar to LOTSIP, there could be money left over in the program, and then they just take the next one on the list. So, I mean, there is the potential of that to happen, as it just did with 2 other towns.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Rob, you're still up.
Yep, just a very quick update on the SS4A Safety Action Plan. We are on schedule to hopefully have the rough draft in early September. Get that out for public information meetings and things like that for a couple months, and we're tentatively looking at probably a November or December MPO endorsement. Probably in a couple weeks, either myself or FHI will be sending out the individual town profile sections to all the towns for your review. So we'll get that out, I would say, in maybe another week or two.
Any questions? Okay, Rob, what else?
I think that's all I have. I don't know what else we had on the agenda. Let me check.
So I can give the update on the Connecticut Loop Trail Study phase 2. Rob and I met with the city planner and the new mayor of Middletown on Monday to discuss the funding that they have to further the Central Connecticut Loop Trail concept in Middletown. Our study that was completed earlier this spring identified as a priority phase a trail that connects the north end of Middletown to Newfield Street and the new apartments that are being developed on Newfield Street. The city has state funds that Senator Lesser was able to get through a bond through bonding. And a portion of that money was used for the non-federal match for RiverCOG study. This new phase would use the remainder of those funds. And currently the city has limited staffing, has the staffing issue at the moment with no public works director and a city engineer who is going to be retiring. So we have proposed to the mayor having RiverCOG continue with this project and do the project management. Mayor Nocera was supportive of that idea. We're going to work with the city on that proposal of what RiverCOG's fee would be, and hopefully move forward with this project in the fall.
Is that following the old trolley lines, Jim?
It would follow partially. So you have the existing rail line, and you have a bridge that would need to be rebuilt over the Conconchug River. So in places it would be a boardwalk parallel to the existing rail line, and other places, particularly for the new apartments on Newfield Street, the developer is actually interested in incorporating a trail as part of their development. And then this would connect up to Middletown High School, where some trails have already been constructed. The city does have some money for implementation, as does RiverCOG. We have another 2 million for implementation, and the city has a bond, a park bond, where they have some funds available as well. So we're hoping to do the engineering work that's necessary to move this phase forward, and this phase would be very helpful for the revitalization of the north end of Middletown, which already has assets such as like the Remington Rand factory that has a number of destinations, but also there's open space, public open space, and connecting that up to the Newfield Street corridor.
Any questions for Sam or Rob? Okay, thank you. You got nothing else, Rob, right?
Nope, I do not have anything else under other at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Transit District. Is Brendan or Joe here?
Certainly am. Sorry, after a cough. Anyway, so yes, so a couple things. First of which is we got the bus shelter installation passed in Middletown through planning and zoning. So there'll be 4 new bus shelters in short order in Middletown. So that's exciting in the coming weeks. We are also, we have recently launched service changes and expansion in late May. Those are going well. We changed some routes, added some new service for routes 640 and 642. So that's relevant for towns in Old Saybrook, Deep River, and Essex. We also added 644 service, which is serves from Middletown to Old Saybrook on Saturday. So we had some new service there. We also have new brochures coming out. So I think we're starting to distribute those out. So if you have them, definitely feel free to put them in your town hall. We'd appreciate that. We also, as I mentioned, we installed the bus shelters in Middletown. We're going to get those installed. And then finally, my big sort of note is that we are, making good progress on our bus stop transition program. So again, for folks who don't know, we are currently a flag stop where there aren't really any traditional or not many traditional bus stops in the region. So we are going to be a transition to a traditional bus stop system in the region. So we've finalized many of our stops and have gotten the location data of each one of them. So we'll be reaching out either Rural Transit or our contractor K5 Corporation will be reaching out shortly to the towns to talk about the permitting process or whatever process the town would like to go through to getting the bus stops approved on municipal roads. So we're going to the state for the state roads. Anything on municipal roads, of course, we'll be reaching out and we'll be showing you all the stops in the town that are proposed there. So we want to get feedback on those for potential approval for getting those bus stops installed, and just for some of the benefits of why we're doing this, why we're going through trouble. They are public safety is number one. When you have a flag stop system, people can wait anywhere they want along the bus route, and that sounds great, and it is in many cases, but we also get people waiting in unsafe location on guardrails, on fast roads at a turn. And so having a signed bus stop that we can guarantee the safest location in that area, right? Now, all these are great locations. You guys obviously know the region, right? There's some places that aren't amazing in general, but we find the best of what we can for bus stop locations. And also it's like an advertisement as well for our bus services. And then we have links to our schedules on each of the bus stops themselves as well through a QR code. So it's a good way to make sure to improve operational efficiency, safety, and also advertise service a little bit as well. So those will be more information in the coming weeks. So we'll be reaching out shortly.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anything
Okay,
else, Joe?
Excuse me?
Oh, I was checking to see if Joe Comerford, if he had anything to add, or you're all good?
I'm good. I know we have something else coming up, so I'll talk.
Sam, you're gonna handle the employee sharing contract?
Yeah, so I'll just introduce this and Joe can add. Joe Comerford approached me about extending our employee sharing agreement. Currently, Brendan is an employee of RiverCOG who is on loan to Estuary Transit District. And Estuary Transit District has been able to reimburse RiverCOG for Brendan's hours doing transit planning on the behalf of the transit district and the region. Joe has asked to extend that contract, and I would be looking for authorization to sign a contract addendum for that employee sharing relationship. But before that, I'd like Joe just to explain what he's trying to achieve here.
Yes, thanks, Sam. So we were looking to do a 5-year extension because we have been using some of our federal relief funds, and we've set them aside internally for this purpose. But by having a longer term contract, we could officially obligate them for this program, and it's something Brendan's been invaluable to us, and working more closely with the COG has been a huge benefit. I mean, I think you all see the amount of things we've been able to accomplish the past couple of years through that partnership. So by obligating it with the contract, we ensure that it will not be, well, we hopefully ensure, we make it much less likely that it could be clawed back. So we wanted to execute this agreement again, so we can go into our grant and show it as obligated. And so they understand that this money is spent, even though it's not been drawn down yet.
Okay. I'll take a motion to authorize the executive director to negotiate and sign a contract.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Dave. Discussion?
Yeah, if I may, our contract does allow for a 90-day termination of the contract by either party. So even though this contract will go for 5 years, if either ETD or RiverCOG saw a need to terminate, we have that provision in the contract.
Thank you, Sam. Any other questions?
Tony, who has the obligation to hire the replacement employee should Brendan decide to move on?
RiverCOG does.
Say the executive director, but Sam, you want to answer that?
He did.
Yeah,
RiverCOG.
yes,
Okay.
RiverCOG would. So in the case that Brendan would, please don't leave.
Right.
We're not suggesting anything. But if you were to move on and leave RiverCOG and Estuary Transit District, this relationship could be maintained, and we would hire a replacement to work with Estuary Transit District. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to COG business. Authorization for the executive director to enter into a contract with the Connecticut River Gateway Commission. Sam or Susie, which one's up?
Yeah, why don't I just speak to that, and Susie can add. We have an annual services agreement with the Connecticut River Gateway Commission. The commission we've hosted since its inception more than 50 years ago. This agreement outlines hourly rates for staff and what expectations exist between the two entities. This is something we started doing a couple of years ago because the relationship was not formalized in any way. So this way, there's formal expectations on both sides. I don't know, Susie, if you want to speak to any of the any differences or changes in this year.
No, we've enumerated how many meetings I should be attending. I'm spending approximately 40% of my time at RiverCOG for the Gateway, to staff the Gateway Commission, and they do pay for that time. And we'll be monitoring that just in case we need to maybe reduce that number so I can work more on economic development or other RiverCOG related items. But it's been a good relationship so far, and I'll be continuing to work with them for the next fiscal year.
Okay, I'll take a motion to authorize the executive director enter into a contract.
So moved.
Dave, second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Adoption of an MOU with Eversource Community Partnership Initiative. Marcus?
Yes, good morning. Thank you. To give you an abridged version, back in March, Eversource and the Sustainability Committees of Chester, Deep River, East Hampton, and Portland approached RiverCOG, and they requested its support in preparing an application, a joint application for Eversource's Community Partnership Initiative. And so we submitted the application in April, and we finally were told that we were selected for funding in July. So the funding amount is $85,300. And it's to support two CPI which is the Community Partnership Initiative program. So the Home Energy Solutions, which is residential outreach. And the second part of it is Small Business Energy Advantage, which is outreach to small businesses. We are able to negotiate a small management and administration fee of $28,000. And so we would like to accept the grant. We'd like to partner with PACE, which is People's Action for Clean Energy, to do the work of the grant. And so with your permission, we'd like to suggest a motion to authorize the executive director to enter into a contract with Eversource Energy Service Company, Eversource, for the Community Partnership Initiative grant in the amount of $85,300. And with each of the 4 participating municipalities, that's Deep River, Chester, East Hampton, and Portland, as well as with PACE, in order to disperse the funds for work performed under the grant.
Motion.
I'm
sorry.
Second. No, that's all right. That's all right.
I'll second.
Excited about it.
It was the easy way to do it.
She was eager.
Second.
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion?
I do have one question on what the grant work is. Just out of curiosity. Well, not out of curiosity, but what is this for?
Sure. So it's Eversource program, and it's meant to connect residents with the energy efficiency programs that Eversource has. And it's more of an outreach program. So there's 2 parts of it. One of them is for residential, and the other one is for small businesses. And I got to give it to the sustainability committees. They're very enthusiastic about the program. They're working with us to come up with, a list of events that they want to go and highlight the information. They're working with us for material to share with residents. There's an income eligible and a environmental justice community component to it that's important. So from the COG's perspective, we're helping to be the liaison between the sustainability committees and PACE, who's the technical expert, and Eversource. We're the fiduciary of the funds, and we're going to help the towns do the outreach.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And moving right along, Sam, Regional Election Advisor.
Yes. Thank you, everyone who signed our letter to the Secretary of State at the last COG meeting in Old Lyme. We heard back from her office very quickly and got an MOU executed with her and the assistance of her staff right around the 4th of July. That MOU made its way over to OPM, who also sent us a letter confirming. So we got confirmation in writing from Undersecretary Martin Heff that RiverCOG would be receiving $25,000 for that program, for our Regional Election Advisor program. That is that amount for this fiscal year. That is less than our contracted amount with Carol. So I will be meeting with her next week to discuss programming and ways that we can use the additional money to support our municipal election officials in the next year. I have not seen the terms yet from OPM, but I assume that they're going to want to have that money spent by June 30th. So that's a good problem to have money to support training and support of our election officials in our 17 towns.
Any questions for Sam? Okay, thanks, Sam. Good job.
Yep.
Regional Waste. Marcos?
Hello, yes, thank you. So a quick update on the regional waste study. First, I wanted to thank everyone for participating. I know it's been difficult to get everything scheduled throughout the busy summer season, but we pretty much heard from every town, and we wanted to thank you for your time. And based off the feedback that we've received during those interviews, we, in a consultation with our team, our RS and HDR, we're planning on making a couple of changes to the deliverables for the RWA. So based on your feedback, it's pretty clear the transfer stations are central to waste management in each town. And to support this, we're directing the consultant to create a profile for each of the transfer stations. And we're hoping to, in that profile, we want to focus on basic characteristics, which is a lot of the information that you've already provided. So, the size, the number of tons of waste handled, cost to operate, types of waste accepted, hours of operation. We also want to look at opportunities and constraints. We want to look at capital improvement needs. Example would be some transfer stations want to have a scale, some of them don't. Some of them need new dumpsters, that sort of thing. And then we also want to connect it with the funding opportunity to actually connect those desired changes with sources of funding to make those changes. And I think these profiles will allow the towns to easily compare notes with each other. Something that we found with each of the transfer stations was that everybody does it a little bit differently. Everybody has different arrangements, and we hope that the profiles will make it easier for everybody to kind of compare notes and take lessons learned from each town, so we can have the best service for the residents, make the stations maybe more budget neutral, make them a little bit more efficient. And I also think that pivoting towards local improvements will probably help us move away from the authority part of the study and kind of create solutions that are more collaborative and tailored to the individual needs of the towns. So in short, we're kind of shifting the focus of one of the tasks from a regional look to more focused look on each of the transfer stations.
Okay, any questions? All right, moving right along. Climate pollution reduction grant, Marcos?
Yes. Okay, so there's going to be a virtual public meeting on July 30th, 12:30 to 1:30. I may have sent out the Zoom link. We'll send it out again. The Climate Pollution Reduction Grant is an EPA-funded grant. It's been going on for over a year. It's in collaboration with Capital Region Council of Governments. And we're finally at the end where we've created a draft CCAP, which is the sorry, I have it written down here. Comprehensive Climate Action Plan. Sorry, thanks. Yes. So I highly encourage you to go to this public meeting. We're in collaboration with Capital Region, so it's important that we got some of the measures and strategies in there that supported our region. Some of the strategies that we're going to explore in the CCAP are growing urban tree canopies, expanding solar, reducing the use of heating oil, electrification of buses, municipal fleets, that sort of thing, encouraging the use of mass transit, and organic waste diversion. So I've looked at the latest draft. It's about 120 pages. It looks great. And this is an opportunity to ask questions of the consultant, Dewberry, and to have some feedback. I will bring it up later in the fall, and with the hope that we could adopt the final draft. So,
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Susie, Demis report?
I will defer to Nicole or Olivia if they're on the call. If they aren't, you should be receiving a semi-monthly newsletter from Nicole that outlines all of the activities that Demis is doing a month. And if you ever have any questions, you can give me a call or you can contact Nicole directly. That's all I have.
Okay. I don't see either one. All right, then moving along. Susie, you're still up with Regional Economic Development Committee.
have not received any word on our economic development designation application, and it still could take some time. I heard from Deborah Bevan, who is our contact at EDA, that they are understaffed and have lost staff, and things are moving slowly. They'll let us know if they need any additional or updated information for that application. And I have just set up a meeting to meet with Deborah at the end of this month to find out if there are any funding possibilities for any economic development projects in the region without having the economic development designation. So hopefully I'll be able to have something to report on whether or not some federal funds might be available for regional economic development next month. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Invasive species, Margot?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Let's see, I'll start with our water chestnut project. We've been working in Chester, Deep River, Haddam, and East Haddam. And I want to thank the Public Works departments from Chester and Deep River. They've been helping us with debris removal from the coves in those two towns. So that has been very, very, very helpful to us to get the work done this summer. There's also been work done in line by volunteer Mark Yuknoff, and also in the Mad Bassett by John Hall in the Jonah Center, and Connecticut River Conservancy. So I will say there is a lot of water chestnut out there in our region. We are keeping control of it, but it is escaping to some freshwater areas that you might not expect to see it. So we need to keep our eye out for that. There were some found in the Mill Pond in Essex, which has been taken care of. And then some was noticed in an area where you might not expect it at all, and that is in the south part of South Cove in Essex. And I think it's where probably a freshwater stream comes in, and the water there maintains a low enough salinity for the plant to establish itself. So we're investigating that, but it is popping up in some freshwater streams and areas that you might not expect it. So we need to keep our eye out on that. And then for the Connecticut River Hydrilla project, there was a large response to the public notice put out by Army Corps for a supplement to their environmental assessment for the Connecticut River project. The response has been large, with great concern and support for the project. So we've been responding to that as needed. The Connecticut Deep response has been forwarded to all of you for that. Last week, Senator Blumenthal and Representative Renee Lamarck Muir held a press conference in support of the project in Deep River, which probably many of you saw on the news, and that was held last Friday. So that's all that I have for that. You have any questions?
Any questions for Margot on invasive species? All right, seeing none. National Hazard Mitigation Plan.
And then I have an update for the land trust too. That's the one on the list there.
Oh, you got the
Tony.
land trust. Yeah, do the land trust first, please.
Okay. The only update I have for the land trust is that they will be sponsoring an aquatic species, an aquatic invasive species workshop. Hope to hold it from 3 to 5. It's the Connecticut Ag Experiment Stations, which does the workshops. And it's primarily for municipal staff, public works, and those that might work out in the field. So inland wetlands people, and also land use commissions and board members of all our municipal land trusts. 50 people are able to attend. So we'll be looking for a good location to hold that. And if there's any problems with that date for any of you, please let me know and we'll try and reschedule it. But it is a very good date for the Ag Experiment Station. It's one of the ones that they have left and we have it tagged. So let me know soon if you think that that is not something that will work for your municipal staff, most importantly, the ones that work in the field.
What was that date again? Sorry.
Yeah.
October 9th.
Okay.
From 3 to 5. It's a Thursday.
Any other questions on the land trust? Okay, now natural hazardous mitigation plan.
Okay. So first off, tonight is our first public information meeting. That information has been sent to all of our towns and it's in the Middletown Press on Monday. And it's been put out on social media and little local papers and things. It's being held from 6 to 6:30. It's a Teams meeting. And the information for the meeting and the time and everything and the link is up on our website, the RiverCOG website. And then I want to thank all of you for getting in your letters of intent with your team members and things. That's been very helpful. You're all great expediting that. So thank you very much for that. And let's see, we held the last of our town meetings in Cromwell the day after the last COG meeting, and it was a great meeting, as were all the meetings that we held in the towns for the first meeting. So thank you all for that too, and scheduling that. And that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, Janice, Regional Agriculture Council.
Yeah, good morning. There are no meetings for our Agriculture Council in July and August. But if there's anything that comes up concerning agriculture, please contact your representative or us here at RiverCOG, and we can schedule anything if necessary. That's agriculture for you.
Any questions? Okay. Household hazardous waste, how did it go on Saturday?
It was great. We were busy all day. No problems with any kind of crazy waste coming in or anything. It was a good collection. Wasn't too hot, so that worked out nicely also. Just to note that we're still having people coming in looking for paper shredding events and different kind of postings that they're finding on AI. Please direct your residents to our website for the correct information on when our events are.
Questions for Janice?
This is less of a question, but more of a comment on the search engines providing bad information. We've been having problems with our pistol packet information where website Google and Bing are providing the old form that's no longer accepted by the state. So this is not just a paper shredding. This is just the algorithm is broken and I don't know.
Okay.
It is an issue, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, I have nothing. I believe, Sam, you have something, don't you?
Yes, I do. I'd like to announce to the COG that our long-serving financial administrator, Paula Fernald, will be leaving us at the end of the week is a finance director of the town of Deep River. I want to thank Paula for over 11 years of amazing service to RiverCOG. We have 11 clean audits, and hopefully this one will be no different, that are a great record of achievement here. And you've done so much for the agency, and I wanted to thank you on behalf of all the staff and and of course on the board for your work. And you'll be sorely missed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll miss the family here. It's been a great family. Thank you. And Tony, thank you for your suggestion. I
Well,
appreciate.
good luck, Paula. We're gonna miss you, but welcome to the municipal ranks now.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And I can announce that I offered the position of RiverCOG Financial Administrator to we interviewed 3 very good candidates, or four candidates for the position. And the new person, her name is Sally Rothenhaus. She's from Old Saybrook, and she came highly recommended. And I think she will be a good successor to the good systems that Paul has set up here at RiverCOG.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Anyone else have anything for the good of the council? In that case,
I think
Carl.
One thing, one thing.
Yes.
For those of you who are in the Saybrook probate court, the work is proceeding apace, and honestly, I don't know what the cost is, but the architect did, before any construction began, estimated at about 50,000. I don't know where it's going to come in. I've asked my Board of Finance to kind of put in a little extra on our part from a little surplus, the surplus we're going to have this year. But anytime anybody wants to come down, whether I'm here or not, or if you want to get together, 3 or 4 of you, and come by and see what's going to happen and see what we're doing with construction. The construction is slow. The contractor works a day or 2, and then he might do something else, and then he'll come back. So there's no crazy urgency. My IT guy has been spending a lot of time with the probate court on furniture, just so the wires go where they're supposed to go and whatever. I'm not getting involved in those details. Furniture, we tried several different vendors. I turned the judge onto WB Mason. She originally started somewhere else, and now we have her at Transfer Enterprises, seeing if they can help us with some less expensive furniture, because the cost of the furniture was significant. So, and just, I just want you guys to come down and, anytime you want to see it, it is going to happen. So we're moving along. Hopefully in September, we'll do the move.
Thank you,
Carl.
Carl. Yes, go ahead.
No, just thank you, Carl, for the update, and that's very exciting. Moving forward, I'm going to come down and visit.
Yeah, anytime. I mean, the door, if the contractor's not here, that door is locked. If I'm not here, somebody else can probably let you in.
Okay.
Just let me know you're coming.
Will do. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, in that case, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. I'm sure there's no one opposed. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
And our next, and just as a reminder, our next RiverCOG meeting will be on Zoom on Wednesday, September 17th. We don't typically hold an August meeting, but if there is a need for an emergency meeting, Tony will call one.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.